Hello and welcome. My name is Nikaya, and I'm so glad you found me here today. I wanted to take some time to talk a little bit about this apprenticeship and offering because it really is the culmination of the last 25 years of my own experience as both teacher and student. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what makes it different from perhaps other trainings and why perhaps your soul might be calling for it at this time. Many of us find that we're called to techniques and healing practices of the shamanic realm, of the healer, the mystic, and the storyteller. And yet those old apprenticeships, the real old classic ways of coming into understanding that are very deeply held by our elders, sadly no longer exist. I know when I was doing my training, it was something that my soul was very much yearning for. And that is the role of the mystic and the elder being held in the container of our own ancestral understandings. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I mean by that. I found that over the last 20 years, one of the things I've noticed is that we as humans fall into a spectrum. We're not just one thing. And so to enter into apprenticeship as just a healer, just a mystic, not that we can really even find a training for being a mystic, or a storyteller is really difficult to come to. And that's because what makes us human is that we're a combination of so many things. We are our ancestors. And there's this deep soul longing that we find ourselves in this time in history. That is why this apprenticeship has a deep focus on ecological and human social activism. I find that we as spiritual beings at this time in history can't any longer ignore our role as social activists. The role of the spirit worker is definitely in the realm of social activism, understanding for us how it is to be in right relationship with the land and with the peoples that were here before us, understanding who our ancestors are and what makes us the diverse people that we are today. We're not just one thing. Our ancestors aren't just one thing. I know I'm made up of many different ancestors, Scottish and Irish, Ukrainian, Romanian. All of these things make me who I am. How this apprenticeship is different is that what I've come to understand about this spectrum is that what our souls are really calling for is a deeply held container where we can figure out where we sit along the spectrum and really find our destiny path. So while the apprenticeship very much is a focus on understanding the ways of the healer with lots of very classical shamanic trainings and techniques, I'm also infusing it with everything of who I am. I'm an artist and a writer. I love to tell stories, and my approach to the spirit world is very uniquely mine. That was one of the understandings that really has shaped who I am as a teacher. And as I've held containers for many, many students over the years, I've come to realize that supporting them in their unique destiny path is absolutely vital to their success. And that is to say that going into an apprenticeship or a teaching where the teacher expects, or that the sort of classic patriarchal paradigm is that we are meant to emulate our teachers, no longer works. We're in a new time and a new age, and we need, as humans, to be approaching this from a really different perspective. Healing and understanding our ancestors, coming at the approach of our spirit guides showing us how to do things in that very old traditional way, with a wise teacher or someone to hold the container for us so that when we're learning, we can stay within the bounds of safety and being witnessed as well. I really could speak for years and years and years on this, and that is why I've created the combination of 3-year apprenticeship so that we're going to ease ourselves into the waters of understanding our destiny path, understanding classic healing techniques, and understanding that while our entry point often is the feeling of being called to be a healer, actually we run along a spectrum and we're not usually just one thing. And my goal is to support students who come to work with me in really figuring out what it is that makes them who they are, where they sit on the spectrum, and how to really make good on their destiny path. And so it is with great, great, great excitement that I share this with you today. If you're interested, read the details below. I've included as much as I can, and yet there's just so much more that could be and will be added into these offerings. Sending you so much love. And if you have any questions, I'm always here. Click my contact page if you have any concerns or worries or questions coming through about this apprenticeship. And I look forward to maybe meeting some of you. Deep blessings.